It's time to sing some melodies. It's time to sing some melodies. Yeah. But the first melody is 1228 in your book. Have a nice D natural there, which is going to be 5 of 2. So I'm going to do it through once with me playing the whole thing, and then I'll give you one with just accompaniment to sing along to. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty great. Here it is with just the accompaniment, so you can sing along without my help. Ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to leave 1233 for you to do on your own. So the next song that I'd like you to do is "For the Longest Time" by Billy Joel. You'll find on Moodle, and then above me, an outline of the melody with chord light lead sheet notation underneath. You should take all of the sevenths as dominant sevenths. So that C7 dominant seventh doesn't live in B flat major, so you'd have to think of what is C7 5 of. Well, C7 is 5 of F. F is 5 in B flat. Oh, great, that's a 5 of 5. Now, it doesn't affect the melody, but that D7 that happens next does affect the melody. So think about what 5 that would be. So D7 is 5 of G, which is what in B flat? Then that B flat dominant seventh is the other one that you'll have to make sense of. So using that thought process, then you'll know what F sharp what solfege you should use for F sharp, what solfege you should use for A flat. Okay, so let's do this through. I will give you some light accompaniment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, for the longest time. And then last we have the chart for All of Me, which is like my favorite jazz chart. I know you did triplets last semester, so these quarter note triplets shouldn't be too hard. Here, that score will pop up now. Pop. We'll start with now we've got some heavier lead sheet notation. So it says C major 7. That's a C major triad with a major 7th on it. So C, E, G, B would be what the band would play underneath that. And then E dominant 7th, A dominant 7th, then the D with a slash would be D minor. E7, A minor, D7, and then the D minor 7, which gives you the 2-7 to 5 at the 5-7 at the end, which is so sort of baked into so many jazz tunes.
Like applied chords in it.
Let's just tap the rhythm first, and I think you should do it on your own first, and then check yourself by doing it with me. I'm going to put the beat on my head. And then I'll tap the rhythm of the melody on my chest, so you can sort of see both as they go along. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Second line. Third line. Fourth line. Yeah, all right. So that's how I would suggest doing it to make sure that you get the subdivisions. You could also do literally do the subdivisions. So tap the eighth notes. So it would be so that would be something like that. A little harder to get those twos against threes, I think, when you're doing it like that, because then it becomes a 4 against 3. So here's a little accompaniment for that. 1. So here's your key. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. I'm sure all of the jazz majors are laughing at me right now. I am very bad at playing jazz. Very bad. What do we have to do this week? Well, for your performances, the melodies are 1228, 1233, For the Longest Time, and All of Me. And just like before, if you're asynchronous, record them all. We'll grade the ones that represent you best. And if you do it synchronously, the TAs will choose which one you sing. You're also going to sing 4 arpeggio exercises. Those are chapter 57 and 58, both exercise 3 in both those chapters, and it's A and B in both those chapters. You'll play E and F from those exercises on the keyboard, that's melodica or whatever keyboard you have around. And then finally you'll do the modulating scale for your hearing. So start with C equals Fa, and then you'll change to Do, So, Re, La, Mi, and finally T. Now, I want you to make sure that you listen to and practice the C to C scale with the exercises that we've been doing for the last 5 weeks. We got a couple of mistakes in the homework that was handed in last week that makes me think that for the modulating melody, that some people just read what I posted on Moodle and then never watched the video, and so they ended up modulating to different keys in a way that just wouldn't have worked if you had practiced with the video. And so we'll let people redo that for this week, but I want to say explicitly going forward that if you make a mistake that makes it clear that you didn't watch the video, I'm going to count it as as you having not done the assignment. So if you do the C to C scale and it's for not C to C, or if you end up with a C sharp or a C flat or something like that, or you take it and take the scale and do a G to G scale when it's when you're modulating, that means that you haven't listened to these videos. We'll be more rigorous going forward, that if you make mistakes that make it clear that you haven't watched the video, it's incomplete. But I also want to make it clear that if you watch these videos and you make a good faith effort and it just isn't making sense, or you're having trouble, please reach out to me at the TAs. That's not a mistake that we would give incompletes for. So for Owl, your quick reactions are going to add a couple of things, and the first one is which chord is which. It's often hard to train your ear to hear the difference between a 4 chord and a 2 chord, or a 5/7 chord and a 7 chord. And so what I'm going to do is have a context where I play both, and then you have to tell me which one is which. So you could hear a progression where you would have and then 2 options. And I would say, which of those had a 4 chord and which of them had a 2 chord in that. And so you would say, well, the first one had a 4 chord, and the second one had a 2 chord, or something like that. And the same thing with 5 versus 5/7. Then I'll also do what's this chord. So instead of just having like a tonal context and then saying what's the scale degree, we'll give you a tonal context and then give you a chord. And you'd be like, that's a 4. And I'll do that with multiple chords too. So maybe I'll give you that, and then give you, and you would, of the choices, you would pick out that was 5 of 6 to 6, or something like that. Finally, there's going to be a harmonic dictation where you're just going to give me Roman numerals. And then there's going to be, I'm going to try a new format that I'll call melodic fill in the blanks. And what you'll get is a score with some of the notes blacked out, and then you have to tell me what those notes are. So if we were doing All of Me, well, I could black out a couple of notes and then say, hey, what's underneath number 1? What's underneath number 2? What's underneath number 3? And notice that I've got 2 number 1s, and that's because those are both the same notes. Those are both G sharps. And so I would have a recording there that would play through the melody, and then you would match up the notes to the numbers. So like you'd have a pull down menu. One of them would be a G sharp, one of them would be an E flat, whatever. And so you'd say, well, number 1 is a G sharp, and number 3 is an E flat. Also, the next video that I make is going to be preparing you for the midterm. So there's going to be a midterm for this class the first full week of October. So the video that comes out next week will be coming out the last week of September. And then the first week of October, which is the October 5th to the 9th, is going to, I'll have a midterm for you to take that'll be a combination of OWL and some kind of performance. And then the last thing that I want to talk a little bit about is just about this asynchronous format that we're working on right now. I realize that it's very weird to have to self-pace and keep yourself accountable without seeing, people face to face, especially the people to whom you're accountable. So I wanted to suggest 3 things for you to do if you're not already doing it. The first one is to have a rigorous schedule. So I know we don't have class time, but I think that it would be pretty healthy if you imagined that class time, as it is originally scheduled, is like your time to go and do your work. And if that's doesn't work for you, then block out some other time that you're always doing it. So maybe like Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. or whatever. And you always do your oral skills work at that time. So it feels like you're in the schedule. I think that's one thing that would help with this asynchronous format. The second one is to have accountability buddies. Maybe if you're Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 to 8:30 p.m., you find somebody else who's like kind of on that same schedule, and maybe you just like both have your Zoom rooms. You're both in the same Zoom room, and you're not talking to each other, but you like can see each other work, and so at least it's sort of like you're sitting across the table from someone in the library working on homework. You've had this feeling of like accountability because somebody else is there doing work with you. And so you can create these like accountability networks of people who are working together, even though we're physically apart. And then the third thing is for you to be very forgiving of yourselves, and also to trust that like we, your professors and TAs, are very sensitive to what's going on right now. Like, I don't want people to be super stressed out about, like, oh gosh, I'm having a bad week and I'll never get back on. If that happens, please reach out to us. If you forgot to do one part of the assignment because, like, your mind was just somewhere else, like, just send us a note. We'll work it out. But this is a weird time, and we're going to be very empathetic and sympathetic to all these issues that are going on. I don't want anybody like tearing their hair out or staying, making this keep them up at night out of stress. So and really keeps the lines of communication open with me and the TAs. And I finally do want to say that I was using class time on Wednesday to do like games a little bit, and I was only doing like 20 or 25 minutes of games. I think that what I'll do is open up most of class time on Wednesday for people to ask for help on a particular thing. So you can come into the room and be like, hey, I'd like to work on the quick reaction stuff that's on OWL. And I'll do those exercises for 10 or 15 minutes. Or, hey, can we do some melodic work together, or sightseeing work together? And I'll do some of that, so that we can have a little more like actual back and forth that might happen in the actual ear training classroom, where like if a group of people are having a hard time doing this thing, I could stop class and be like, okay, well, let's talk about what's hard and what's not. And I can't do that if I'm making a video beforehand. So let's have class time on Wednesdays as a time that people can check in with me and be like, hey, I'm having a really hard time hearing scale degree C, and can we work a little bit on that? And so I'll be there for that sort of like immediate feedback. Wait, I haven't said what my favorite bird is! It's obviously the bald eagle. It's obviously the bald eagle. Like, anybody who doesn't think that the bald eagle isn't the best bird hasn't seen a bald eagle. They're so cool. They're so cool!